Hello and welcome to Man Up and Restart, where it's never too late to prioritize your well being. Join us as we explore the path to a healthier lifestyle, one story at a time. Now, together, we will uncover the power of second chances. I am Austin Patton, guiding your journey to rediscovery. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Man Up and Restart podcast, where your host, Austin Patton, discusses a second chance at a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. So last week I decided to talk about kind of fighting our inner demons. And I left off the end of the podcast unsure of where I wanted to go next. However, today is silencing the shadows within. Now, what does that mean? It is essentially, taking charge of our thoughts to empower personal growth, whether it be fitness, financial, mental, relationship, whatever type of growth you're going for. You need to have strategies for facing and overcoming our inner critic, which is silencing those shadows within. Because I think one of the biggest demons that most people fight, which is why I think I decided to go this route, was the way you talk to yourself. You're your biggest critic. You're your best friend. You're your worst enemy at the end of the day. It's something I have battled with myself. I have half my life is probably me thinking to myself. That's weird, but whatever. I'm weird. And I have found that I do a lot more than I thought. Made some jokes with friends, buddies say something and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just stupid as whatever. Just kind of brush it off. Or, failed that test. It's my fault. I didn't study. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. It's easy to beat yourself up. It really is. It's the easiest route you can take. It's just to brutalize yourself for mistakes that you've made. But that's not where you grow. Where you grow is where you really dive deep into, hey, I fucked up. All right. Plain and simple. Made a bad choice. I fucked up. Where did I go wrong? Why did it go wrong? And how do I avoid from doing that again? That's growth. That's how you take your fitness journey, the first steps, and forward with those. It's where you take your financial growth to the next level, your personal growth to the next level. And I've done that quite a bit myself. I'm a big talker to myself. I never really noticed how deeply and how negative I was with myself until I got with a therapist and they kind of told me, they were like, yeah, well, you're a really negative person. I was like, I know, but they were like, I was like, I'm not that bad. I try to think positive, and they're like, not really. There's more subtle things that I missed that I just grew to do over time and never really thought. So then I had to kind of change that, recognize situations like failing a test, not being able to lift the same weight the next week, missing my nutrition goals. Kind of when those things become the loudest is when I had to really focus on, hey, watch how you talk to yourself. You tried, you messed up. Where'd you go wrong? Cool. You decided to go out to eat and then you got lazy with your meal prepping. Cool. Next week, I know what to do. I'll go out to eat and get on top of the meal prepping. And those are just kind of things that will really bring it all together for your growth. But I think one of the biggest issues is kind of identifying that. It took me a while. It took someone else for me to recognize how badly I talk to myself, and how how many ways that I have been self-sabotaging myself for years in negative thinking, from just road rage to um, looking at the news in always negative way, um, a lot of other stuff. And I think there's a lot of factors that come into that. Um, Me personally, something I do like to talk with my clients about is kind of, wouldn't say avoid the news, but take the news with a grain of salt. Um, the news is an outlet where reporters are able to, report whatever they want. And over the years, we've noticed there's a lot more, especially here in St. Louis where I live, there's a lot more negative on the news. So if you watch the news every day and there's a lot of negative on the news, well, it's gonna kind of rewire your brain to kind of start looking at negative stuff. So that's why I'm a really big advocate on keeping motivational quotes, people, especially like on social media, following people who are more positive, give you motivation, kind of get you going, even if it is really tough love, even if it is cussing you out for 5 minutes or whatever it is. To me, it's a positive. As long as you can turn it into a positive. And as I mentioned last time, that's kind of where I'm a big fan of David Goggins, and that's where he talks about taking all of his challenges or any obstacle he faces and is kind of like, watch this, cool. You want to talk trash on me? Cool. Well, let's fuel. I'm gonna turn that into a positive. It's all about turning a negative into a positive. And I think that becomes huge, especially with your self-talk. You have to talk to yourself. If you can, encourage yourself, motivate yourself, avoid dogging yourself at all costs, because you manifest what you think and you manifest what you say. So if you manifest all negative, you might want to take a step back and look at how you view yourself and how you talk to yourself. I also didn't really recognize how many ways there is to self-sabotage yourself. Um, I didn't think I was really doing it until I noticed I started making an intentional choice to look at myself and how I thought and how I talked to myself. I was very limited. I sabotage myself on a daily basis, hourly basis, possibly. It's just the small things that build up in this situation, and that's where I think a lot of people go wrong. They think it's, oh well, I wasn't negative in that big situation. Okay, cool. It's one big situation. It's the little stuff that really matters. It's all the small things. All the small things matter. So, you know, get a little deep here for a second. The roots of my self-doubt are a group of people I used to religiously hang around with that I look back and are very narcissistic, very practically, you would consider them bullies. Um, but their way of making themselves feel better, the way of hiding their own insecurities involved belittling other people, calling people, stupid, idiots, making them feel bad, whatever. And it didn't take till I had a talk with a salesperson at a fitness conference in Austin, Texas, where he asked me, because I was asking him about sales tips. And he was like, hey, so are you an introverted person? Yeah, I'm a very introverted person. Well, who says that? And I sat there and I thought for a second, trying to think of, well, obviously people think I'm an introverted person. I think I'm an introverted person. And he was like, well, you labeled yourself an introverted person, didn't you? I was like, yeah. He was like, let me guess. When you were younger, you were probably an extroverted person, and now you're an introverted person. And I was like, yeah, I've been told that I was very extroverted when I was younger. And he proceeded to say, well, usually what happens with introverted people is they go from being extroverted something happens, like a traumatic events, something in their life changes them to be a little more quote unquote introvert. And they label themselves as introverted. They're extroverted people. It's just something made them go kind of quiet. And so that's really got me thinking about this one situation where my self-doubt started, where my confidence was weakened, kind of where my inner critic started getting really loud. It was around that time. I used to be an extroverted person before then. I was belittled quite a bit and became an introverted person. Once you feel like once you are speaking out and you're talking and people are just constantly every time you talk, they're downing you. Well, then you're gonna stop talking, and then the more you do it, the more it trickles down over your life. Next thing you know, like me, I started taking jobs. Every job I took, I dealt less and less and less and less with people because I just didn't want to be people. I didn't want to be around people. I hated people. But I've grown to realize that that's counterproductive. That's going to destroy my life if I keep going down that road of pretty much social isolation. Some of the biggest things in the world is networking. That's a whole nother topic that I will discuss in a future podcast. So something I've been working on is strategies for limiting the negative self-talk. Once I start kind of talking bad, it's like, hold on, I try to stop myself. I'm like, it's not that bad. Every time something bad happens and I start going down a tangent of negative talk, I just kind of stop and it's not that bad. It could be worse. I think the biggest thing is it could be worse. Just keep telling yourself it could be worse. It could be worse. It could be worse. Every situation could always be worse. It's not. And even if you feel like it is, it's not. It's another stepping stone to build you to who you're supposed to be, to really challenge you to see if you really want this, if you really want to get healthy, if you really want to do your workouts. And another thing I've worked on is turning criticism into growth. I'm not taking everything as a personal attack or not taking everything as it's a me thing. One thing I've learned from therapy and a couple mentors is people are going to portray their insecurities onto you. So what they're trying to make fun of you for, what they're trying to criticize you for in your life is stuff that they wish they could do, wish they had. It's something they're insecure about. So when you recognize that, you can kind of, okay, well, that's just them. That's not me. We're good. Move on. And criticism isn't a bad thing. And I think we've gotten away from that in this world where, you're not allowed to criticize anybody. You have to agree with everybody, be 100% friendly with everybody. I believe criticism is one of the key things to growth because people will see you from other perspectives. Obviously, you got to watch out for the people portraying their insecurities on you. But if it's like maybe a reoccurring thing, okay, maybe that is the way I portray myself. That is the way most people see me. So I think that is a huge thing as a strategy to doing that. And of course, self-compassion. You're doing your best. You're a human being. You're not a robot. You're not an AI. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much. Giving, one of my favorite things I've had to think about within this realm is you might be able to give 100% one day, 90 the next, 70 the next, 20 the next day, 80 the next day, 40, 60, 10, 100 again. As long as you give it that percentage, you gave it 100% for that day. You're not going to be able to show up 100% every day. So do what you can do. And just limit worrying about focusing in the past, focusing on all the bad things. Focus on the good. There's a lot of good in this world. which has been hard for people to really notice. There's been just a lot of negative stuff going on in the world. Everyone kind of views things as negative, and I think that's where we're going wrong as a society as a whole. So I just want to encourage everybody to really become more aware of their inner critic. Just make an intentional choice to recognize that, hey, this is negative. Let's avoid that. Let's think of it in a different way. And I think if more of us start doing that, I think the world could become a better place as a whole. And I think it will help everyone with their mental health and allow them to really grow on their fitness journey. Because at the end of the day, I created this to help people, to help men mostly, get this second chance at a healthy lifestyle. Because I understand that life is going to beat you, life is going to test you. You're going to be put in a position where you may not prioritize your health. And I think it's the biggest mistake that guys make. It's not prioritizing their health. Women as well. I think everyone should prioritize their health, but for this specifically men, because we provide a lot. We provide for our kids, our significant others, friends. We're supposed to be the provider. We forget to fill up our cup. We're always emptying our cup, but you can't empty what you don't have. And to be able to perform our best, we have to make sure our health is top notch. And that's something that I've been working on, and something I want to help as many people as I can achieve that. So I invite all my listeners to share their experiences or strategies for overcoming their own self-doubt. Check me out on the Instagram page. There's a Facebook business page that I would like you guys to kind of talk with each other, share ways you've overcome, and I think that'd be huge for everyone to kind of get a feel from different perspectives. Now, the next episode is going to be a special guest on the next episode, and we are going to discuss time management. I think that's a huge issue that men deal with that I don't think gets enough attention. And I'm going to be talking with someone that I'm close with, I know very well, that has struggled with time management and has kind of found ways to get through it. Myself as well. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening to another episode of the Man Up and Restart podcast. This is your host, Austin Patton. And remember, in the face of adversity, our strength is revealed. Now embrace resilience, for it is in overcoming inner struggles that we discover the triumph of our true selves. Thank you for another great podcast, and I look forward to next weekend. Thank you.